I don't love the term accountant. Now, technically, I am an accountant. I have my bachelor's degree in accounting, but I usually try to avoid calling myself that. And the reason is because that word can mean a lot of different things, and it often creates confusion. When most business owners hear the word accountant, they think of someone who does taxes, but that's not always the case. Some accountants do taxes, but some don't. For example, I don't do taxes. I did for a very short period of time, but it turns out I don't like it at all. And I say this with all the love in the world for tax preparers, but it takes a very special type of person to actually enjoy doing taxes. But this is exactly why this conversation matters, because when you use the word accountant, you might be talking about a bookkeeper or a tax preparer or someone who does both or someone who does something else entirely. And I found that a lot of boutique owners aren't really sure who does what or who they should be going to for different needs in their business. So for today's episode, I want to simplify this. Instead of using the broad word accountant, I'm going to use the terms bookkeeper and tax preparer so you can clearly understand the difference between these two roles, how they work together, and why both are so important for your business. My goal is that by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what you need for your business and you can feel a lot more confident in your financial support team. All right, let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Boutique Bookkeeper Show, where we take the mystery out of your money and make your numbers make sense. I'm Megan, virtual bookkeeper and bookkeeping coach, and I love helping female boutique owners just like you finally feel confident about the financial side of your business. If you're tired of feeling anxious every time you have to open QuickBooks, or if you're making sales but constantly left wondering, where did all that money go? You're in the right place. We'll cover all things bookkeeping and taxes, all in plain English, so you can be less intimidated by the numbers and finally start to use them to help you grow a profitable boutique. So, if you're ready to stop avoiding this whole numbers thing and start keeping more of the money you make, grab your coffee and your calculator and let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Boutique Bookkeeper Show. I'm Megan and today we are going to be talking about the major differences between a bookkeeper and a tax preparer and how they work together and why you actually need both of them for your business. So let's start by talking about a bookkeeper. And before I get too far into this here, if you haven't hired a bookkeeper for your business, the bookkeeper is you, okay? Every business needs a bookkeeper because a bookkeeper is going to be the one that tracks all of the day-to-day financial activity in your business. A bookkeeper's job is to make sure that everything in the business is organized, accurate, and up to date all year long. And this includes things like categorizing all of your income and expenses, reconciling or reviewing your bank and credit card accounts, and making sure that every single transaction is accounted for correctly. Your bookkeeper's job is just to keep the financial story straight of your business, and they, or you, if that's you, should be able to answer questions like, how much profit did you make last month? How much are you spending on inventory? Are your expenses increasing or decreasing? And this is important because your bookkeeper isn't just recording numbers, but they're helping you understand what's happening in your business right now. And this allows you to make informed decisions instead of guessing or hoping that things are going well in your business. Another important role of a bookkeeper is making sure that your books are clean and ready for your tax preparer, which leads us perfectly into the next role. What exactly does a tax preparer do? They have a very different job, and just like the name suggests, your tax preparer is responsible for preparing and filing your tax return. Their job is focused on making sure that your taxes are accurate, compliant, and submitted correctly. So they take the financial reports, like your profit and loss statement, and they use those numbers to help calculate your taxable income. And from there, they apply all the tax rules and deductions and credits to determine how much you end up owing or how much you get back when you file your taxes. It's important to understand that your tax preparer is not responsible for maintaining your books throughout the year. They rely on the information that you provide to them at tax season. Now, sometimes a tax preparer will clean up messy books. I've had some people say that they just give all their bank statements and reports to their accountant at tax time and they figure it out. But unfortunately, this usually causes some unnecessary pressure and it ends up costing you more money. And it just creates unnecessary stress for everyone because you're working up against that tax deadline. That's why bookkeeping throughout the year makes such a big difference. So we've covered a little bit of the differences between a bookkeeper and a tax preparer, but now how do these work together? Now, I already kind of touched on this, that your tax preparer uses the reports created by your bookkeeper, or you, if that's you, throughout the year in order to file your tax return. I also kind of like to use the analogy of a nurse and a doctor when I talk about the relationship between a bookkeeper and a tax preparer. So bear with me here. A bookkeeper is kind of like a nurse. So we're the ones who visit with you first. We grab all your vital information. We prep you for procedures. And then we provide a summary of all the relevant information to the doctor to give them everything that they need to then be able to do their job. And that's a similar relationship to a bookkeeper and a tax preparer, right? A bookkeeper is the one gathering all your financial information, summarizing it into the financial statements that your tax preparer needs to do their job. And then they can use this information to file your taxes, or to take it a step further, they can help you plan for the upcoming tax year if you choose to have a more proactive relationship with them. But I will add a little side note here. Most of the time, if you are working with a tax preparer or a CPA, whatever kind of credentials they may have, they are hired just to file your tax return. I know I've heard lots of complaints of business owners complaining that their CPA maybe didn't tell them that they could have done this to, maybe save on their taxes. But unless you are engaging them, that is a totally separate service to help you do tax planning and forecasting and being able to strategize with you on ways to save taxes. If you come to them after year end and wanting them to help you save on your taxes, most times it's too late to take any advantage of any tax strategies. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you are really looking for someone to help you save on taxes, you need to have a proactive relationship with your tax preparer and not just reach out to them at tax time when it's time to file your taxes. Okay, sorry, that was a little side note there. But going back to how a bookkeeper and a tax preparer work together, some bookkeepers, including myself, we like to make ourselves available to the tax preparer. So if the tax preparer has questions on the reports that are provided, they know that they can come to us directly. And this helps leave our clients from feeling stuck in the middle, trying to relay information between the bookkeeper and the tax preparer that might honestly get kind of lost in translation. Just like the medical field has some unique terminology, the world of accounting does too. So we like to kind of bridge that gap and make ourselves available to work directly with your tax preparer so they can make sure that they have everything that they need to get your taxes filed correctly. So let's talk about, do you really need both of these positions? I mentioned this before. So many times I hear business owners say, well, I just give everything to my accountant at tax time and they figure it out for me. But here's a few reasons why I caution you against doing that. So tax season is busy and stressful for tax preparers, all right? They don't want to try and organize all of your financial information from receipts and statements. They just want to do your taxes. Number two, honestly, they're rushing through it. Again, they're busy. They're not going to want to take the time that is necessary to make sure that every little detail is accurate. They're just focused on getting the bulk of what they need to get your taxes done. And number three, it's honestly just not helpful for you. Your bookkeeping should be something that's kept up with on a monthly basis so you can see how your business is performing. And if you're only doing that once a year at the end of the year, the numbers that you're looking at are outdated and really useless for you to do anything with. But by having these two roles, the bookkeeper and the tax preparer, having these roles separated out, you can ensure that you will always have accurate and up-to-date financial data to help you make better decisions in your business, and that your tax preparer will have all of the information they need so they can focus on preparing an accurate tax return for you. All right, so just a quick recap. A bookkeeper takes care of all of the daily details, while your tax preparer ensures that you are on top of your taxes and financial planning if you choose to work with them on that. Both roles are necessary to make sure that your business finances are accurate and compliant. And remember, if you can't afford a bookkeeper at this stage in your business, that's okay. That just means that you need to become the bookkeeper. And you totally can, okay? Even if you're not a numbers person, you can still master the skills that are needed to stay on top of your bookkeeping. And if you want to learn more about how to feel confident in your own bookkeeping abilities, then I want to invite you to check out my free masterclass. I will link to it in the show notes, but it is just at findingfreedomfinancial.com/masterclass. Or if you're ready to hand off the bookkeeping to someone else entirely, then you can join our waitlist to be notified as soon as a new client spot opens up. Or if you fill out that form on our website as well and you want to indicate that you want us to introduce you to another bookkeeper, we would be happy to help you make that connection if you're not able to wait for a spot on our client roster. But that is all that I have for you today. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode. I'll see you there. Hey there, and thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that I shared something that helped you feel just a little bit more confident in understanding all the numbers in your boutique business. If you found this helpful, don't forget to go and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way for other boutique owners just like you to find this podcast so I can help them feel just a little bit more confident in their numbers as well. If you have any questions about what you heard today, hop on over to Instagram and send me a DM at Finding Freedom Financial. I'll be back again real soon, but in the meantime, go implement or take action on something you learned today. I promise your future self will thank you.